How come I didn't get them?
I don't know. Hi guys, sorry, we're having technical difficulties this morning.
Yeah, they're there.
So now that we don't have to go to Facebook Live,
Two bodies.
I found everybody. Welcome. I think today was gentle yoga, and then I announced it as an all levels class. So you can work at whatever level you want today. It's going to be a little more grounded base, but we'll get some time to do some bigger warm-ups as well. So if you're comfortably set up in your area, that's great. If you need a few extra moments, since we started a few minutes late, feel free to get yourself set up. And then, as usual, I'm going to start class with meditation. And I don't know if you guys follow Eckhart Tolle or Tolle. I'm not sure how you actually say his last name. But I was listening to him this morning. And some of these spiritual leaders, the way they talk is just so soothing to hear them talk. So his story was a parable of Jesus and building a house on sand versus rock, and how we are the house. And when things get challenged in our house, how do you respond? And I've talked to a lot of people who are experiencing anxiety over our current life situation. And anxiety, sorry, Matt is full of cat and dog hair. Anxiety comes up when we're not being focused in the present moment. So to help us alleviate some of that anxiety, staying in the present moment is going to be really helpful. And the first thing I learned in yoga was that breathing was what keeps you grounded in the present moment. So for the first few minutes of class, that's what we're going to do. And one of my favorites as a kid growing up was I loved all the Bible stories. Just loved them. And as I got older and they started explaining some of the deeper meanings of the stories, I fell in love with them even more. So if Bible stories really relate to you, then go ahead and let that be your focus this morning. I think a lot of people who do yoga are working on building their house on rock instead of sand. They realized that they had a house that was built on sand and they need the stability of the rock. And that what we build on top of that rock is what's inside of us. So if you can close down the eyes, the ears, and begin to notice the breath. A couple cleansing breaths might be just what the doctor ordered this morning. You may have found your natural rhythm right off the bat. If you're seated, allow yourself to sit comfortably into your sit bones and your tailbone. If you're laying down, let your spine be long. And as always, I like to get some fidgeties out to claim stillness. I first have to get all those little bugs out of my system. So head rolls, shoulder shrugs, leg shakes, sighs. And then wrapping it all up, bringing it into awareness. Awareness of the four senses that live in your head. So it's easy to see how we could get trapped in our own brain, think everything's happening in the brain. But luckily, our fifth sense organ is our skin, and it encompasses the entire body like a sweet cocoon, giving a sense, touch perception everywhere. And this touch perception goes beyond the basic senses in our head. That touch sense can be so powerful that you can begin to feel sight. You can hear the smallest of sounds. Smell the faintest of smells. So we're going to get out of our ears for a couple minutes as you allow this opening meditation to move through your body, through your senses, and then your mind. And when the mind gets busy doing other things besides focusing on our breath, bring it back. Let it focus on the skin. Feel all those little subtle sensations that pop up. For me, that was loud, at least on my end. So as that brings you back from meditation, notice if an emotion or feeling came back with that jolt. If a sigh or a heavy exhale needs to happen. Not one or two, three, go. If you're seated, I'm going to suggest a little movement. Head roll, shoulders shrug. If you're on your back, stretches, hugs, twists. So give yourself the next 5 to 10 breaths to slowly make your way into child pose. We're going to build up our breathing technique in child pose. So if you're ready to start your deeper diaphragmatic breath, go ahead and fire that up now. You want to stick with your natural breath for the next few? Go ahead and follow your natural breath. So I came out of the fitness world and into the yoga world. One of the most magical things to me was the day I realized the breath and how important it was to the entire practice of yoga. Because I had classes with teachers that would just start the asana practice, the movements. I never cued the breath. And then when I would take classes with teachers that cued the breath, I was always like, wow, what a different practice that was. When it was new, I couldn't quite understand why so-and-so's class was better than so-and-so's class, even though we pretty much did the same poses. And then one day, I realized, oh, it's this breath. The magic of the yoga practice is in your breath. So once you get to child pose, take a great big breath in through the nose, and then open your mouth and sigh it out. Take a couple of those big, heavy sighs. See if you can get your belly really big, and then empty it out, pulling navel to spine. Now, some of you are experienced at controlling the glottis over the esophagus. So if you can control that skin flap, you're going to start to create what's called the ujjayi sound. And this breath gets loud in your ears, and perhaps even loud enough for your neighbors to hear. So maybe it's your cat today or your kid sleeping in the next room. But just allow this diaphragmatic breath to continue to grow. If your lips are still open, let them close. Let all the inhales come in through the nose. Let all the exhales go out through the nose. This is a great pose to feel the belly expand on the inhale, and then to feel it contract on the exhale. See if each time you inhale, you can add one more count to the length. And each time you exhale, can you add in 2 counts to the exhale length? Think about 5 more rounds like this on your own. Breathing in and breathing out just as deeply as you can. Doesn't take long for the mind to wander, so if yours has drifted, bring it back to the present, which is your breath. Your breath is in the present moment. Your breath is not worried about the future or the past. Your breath doesn't worry at all. Worry comes from a place in our mind, in the amygdala part of the mind in particular. Good. Now let your personal intention begin to formulate. So they actually did a brain study on parents and showed that parents actually grow this concern in their amygdala part of the brain after they have a child. And the mother grows quite large, which is why we wake up when the baby cries. The next time you inhale, see if it can lift you all the way up to hands and knees. And then we're just going to rock back and forth from hands and knees back to child's pose. So you can keep the toes turned in towards one another, or you can turn them out and bring the shins parallel and walk the knees in underneath your hips. But we're just going to move back and forth between a childlike pose and then coming up to hands and knees. And as your wrists begin to warm up, and maybe you check out their strength and lean forward, and then lean back, and then lean forward, and lean back. So just a nice variation on the cat-cows. Right? Eventually, you might even find that you want to pull all the way through and forward, and let those hips come down. Stretch out the back and the fronts of your legs. Take 5 more in this variation to the extent that your body's willing to go. Allow the breath to be deep. And usually I can hear you guys breathing, and I'll give kudos to the person I can hear breathing the smoothest. Not always the loudest or the deepest, but the inhales and the exhales seem very smooth and fluid, both in and out. Now, when you finish your 5th round, if you want to come back through table or to down dog, those are going to be our next meeting places. Now, of course, child's pose is always available, and you guys know that. So add in child's pose when you need to. But since it's gentle, you're also going to have to amp it up if you need to. So if you'd rather come into down dog than table, take a few breaths in down dog. If you want to hang out in child's pose for a few more breaths, hang out in child's pose. So gentle, we do a lot of stuff on hands and knees to start to strengthen the wrists and learn to engage the belly and lengthen the spine. Sometimes I come to gentle just to give myself a little break from pushing so hard in all the other classes that I do. So if you're in table or child's pose, give yourself 3 to 5 more breaths. If you're in down dog, you're going to take the next 3 breaths to slowly bend your knees and come into tabletop. There's going to be absolutely no hurry. So slow your breaths down to how slow can you go. Nice. Okay, camera angles everywhere now. Production studio again.
Reverse angle.
And then when you get to tabletop, we're going to take our right hand out to the side, level of our shoulder. And if your balance is not quite where you need it to be, you have permission to move around. We're not stuck in mud here. So, and now we're going to take the twist a little bigger by stacking the shoulders. And we almost always do it by trying to reach our arm up. But think about your shoulder stacking. So we can keep the hips level, and you might feel this rotation deep in the diaphragm. As you exhale, we're going to thread the needle under, but we're not going to get comfortable. We're going to get all the way down under the shoulder, and then inhale, come right back up. Take the arm up. This time, add in a great big arm circle. Let your arm rotate in each direction a couple of times. And then thread the needle when you're done. So please don't rush. Take your time, because you don't get to hold this one yet. We're going to have one more thing to do before we get to hold. And then once you thread the needle and come back out, we're going to take that big arm twist and then push the weight into your left hand and see if you can snake your left leg out behind you. And if the balance is there, great. If not, no big deal. And then we're slowly going to bring the left knee down and take the right leg out behind us. We come into side arm plank, and we did it from a lifted position. So that can be pretty challenging. If you needed to use your hand, by all means, use your hands. The important part here is hips are moving forward. If you'd like to extend your arm overhead, extend your arm overhead. We have 3 more breaths, so if you want to lift your leg up, lift your right leg up. It doesn't have to lift, but if it does, it doesn't even have to lift high. And if it's down, see if you can roll all the way to the pinky toe edge of the foot. Good. Take one more breath. Make sure your neck isn't getting all punchy. And when you come back, we're going to bring the knee down and thread the needle under. So if you need your hand for assistance, use it. When you come down onto your shoulder, you can extend your left arm out in front. You could keep it planted where it is. You could wrap that arm around your back. Now, thread the needle for a lot of us is super yummy, just the way it is. So if you want to lift your hips or push them back to find a more accommodating pose, then do that. And then there's a couple balances you could do here. If you're really feisty this morning, you can try and take your right leg out long behind. Then you could actually bend the knee and reach for the foot for a bind if you're feeling super saucy and need to burn off some energy. Or you just want to experience something different. Don't let a bind or an advanced posture take you out of the original pose. Left leg can go back behind you as well, and then it can lift. You can also try and grab for that. So depending on where your practice level is today, maybe you experiment with a couple of those and then decide that, you know, I was getting just what I needed, and I thread the needle. Give yourself 2 more breaths. When you finish your second exhale, the left hand's going to plant so we can peel ourselves right out of there. And take that great big spinal twist one more time. And then exhale, bring the hands down. Good. And then on the other side, we're going to take the left arm out, level of our shoulder. Good. And then try and lift the hand by stacking the shoulders. And if you get some good tremolo and shake going on, that's always exciting. That's some kind of change taking place in your body. Good. Thread the needle. Come on down and then get comfortable for one breath and then push yourself right back up. Open the arms, stack the shoulders, and then take a couple arm circles. See if you can rotate from your shoulder. So we want to start to move from our joints and use our muscles to move the joints. It requires a great deal of body awareness. So nice that we're here to figure it out. Keep breathing. Don't lose the breath because of the pose. Thread the needle. Take a breath. Notice where the weight shifted. Inhale, come back up. Yeah, I felt it come out of my feet. Good. So first, we'll start with the opposite leg. So right leg back behind is a great big balancey pose. So if you need to put both hands down, put both hands down. Good, navel to spine. And then we're going to bring the right knee back down. Take the left leg out behind us and come into side arm plank. And then you take this stretch to the level that it works for you on this side. Maybe the hand reaches overhead. The foot could lift. Or if it's planted, really push through the pinky toe edge of the foot. Make sure you're not getting tense in the neck. Keep your belly breath strong. One more. And then we'll bring the knees together and thread the needle right through. This time you get to land on it and hold it. And if you did fancy leg play on side A, you're going to do fancy leg play on side B. If you didn't, you're going to just enjoy this amazing shoulder opener. And if you need to adjust your hips to find the sensation, adjust your hips. Two more big breaths. If you think it should be longer, then you take a few extra. When you unwind and come off the shoulders, let that twist happen a moment. And then let's bring the hands down. And you can either push back to child's pose or down dog, whichever one feels better to you this morning. We'll take just a few breaths to reset. When we start to work big joints in the body, start to release. So just notice what emotional releases you're having. And let them come out. That's what we're working on doing. Releasing what no longer serves us. Staying focused in the present moment. And we'll find a lot less fear and anxiety. We're going to slowly make our way to a standing forward fold at the front of your mat. So take your time. If you're in child's pose, you stay as long as you're ready. If you're in down dog, you can walk, hop, or float your feet up. If you're in table, step 1 foot up at a time. Once you get to your forward fold, make it a good one for you. So that means anywhere from big toes touching to feet hip distance apart or wider. A bend in the knees, not a super huge one, but a softness so we don't lock out the legs. We're working to bring belly and thighs together and straightening the spine as much as possible. And then let your head be this long extension, this weight at the end of your spine to help with some natural traction. Feel the space between the vertebrae. The discs are actually getting lengthened. Push into your heels, your big toe mounts, and the pinky toe side of your foot. Take 3 more rounds of big, big breath here. The more you push the ground away with your feet, the more you're going to activate your legs. And the muscles will activate better if your kneecaps aren't locking them up. And if your breath is fluid. When you finish your third exhale, push down through your feet and slowly begin to roll your body up like a ragdoll, one vertebra at a time. Some of us are going to go like a sloth, and some of our sloths are on speed. Inhale, take the arms all the way up. Exhale, bring them down through your heart center and take a moment to get acclimated to standing. Find that strong Tadasana. Maybe a little smile as you pull your navel in. Inhale, take the arms all the way up. As you exhale, if you're practicing it, someone, be careful. We're going to take our arms out into T. And we're going to side bend with our arms out into T. So side bend to the right or left. It doesn't matter because we're going to catch both sides. So usually we side bend with both of our arms going in one direction. But I want you to work with the shoulders and the arms as extensions today. Spread the hands really wide. And then close them into fists. And then spread them wide. Do that 3 more times. Pushing equally into both feet. Lifting your ribs up to the ceiling. So there's a lot going on in this side bend. Good. Let the hands open really wide. Inhale back up through center. And then take it over to the other side. Keep the arms coming out of the shoulders. That was the hardest part for me. It still is. And then on this side, my tailbone sneaks out behind me. So pay attention to your tailbone. Feel your feet. And then open and close the hands. Stretch from your rib cage. Breathe deep and don't let your hips slip behind you. Or there's a couple of you I know that who have the other tilt. So your hips move forward too far. So we just want to neutralize. Good. 2 more hands open and closed. And then leave them open really big and come back up through neutral. Let's bring both arms all the way up to the sky. Take a nice big standing back bend so you could cactus your arms. You could keep reaching back. You could also support yourself and hold on to your low back. Allow your belly and psoas and thigh muscles to move forward and up. And as you do that, your shoulder heads and the top of your head will have more space to move backwards without straining. 1 more big breath. And then as you exhale, engage your belly and fold in half. You're going to plant the left hand down on the floor or a block and spin the right arm out to the side and up. Now, I don't know about you, but this one's so much easier for me when my legs are straight than when I'm on the floor. Usually it feels like my arm can go up a lot higher. So if you want to, you're going to reach your arm out in front towards the front of your mat and then plug your shoulder blade back into your socket. Gaze is slightly lifted, navel is engaged. You can hang out right here, and some of you might want to play with some half moon action. So what I do in gentle is I play with all those places that I don't play with in vinyasa, which means I'll drag my toe on the ground and then just let it hover. That's really hard. I'm always in the habit of lifting straight up. While that's still challenging, there's not nearly as much work. It's just hovering that toe above the ground. So it's not important how the pose looks at the very end. It's about all these feelings that we're going through while we're doing the pose. Bringing the right foot down to meet the left if it moves. The right hand comes down to the block. Soft bend in your right knee, left hand goes up. And here's that great big twist. Now, one of the other things I notice is I dump a lot more when I'm standing into that supporting hand. So make sure you can still move that supporting hand, that it isn't holding all your body weight, that you're using other pieces of your body to do that. And then if you wanted to do the toe drag out, you're going to do the toe drag out. We also want to make sure we keep a bend in the joints. Otherwise, we lock the muscle out, and then we're just putting undue pressure on the joints, and that's not good for them. Whereas stabilizing pressure is good for them. Stabilizing stretches. Good. Keep breathing. 2 more breaths. I don't want to shortchange this side. And when you come back through neutral, we're going to step the feet. Let's step them hip distance or wider apart today and drop into a squat. So if squatting isn't your thing, then slowly but surely we're going to let it become your thing. So I remember when, especially when my SI joint was just really screwed up, I couldn't do these. So squatting was really hard, but so were these twists. So if you can get your arm inside your leg and take the right hand out to the side and the left hand up, then take yourself into this great big twist. Now, some of you can bind here, so if you're a binder and you want to wrap your arms and give yourself a hug, bind those fingers. Right, but now I've gone for the bind and I've lost all the integrity of the pose. I'm getting a lot more work here, and I am doing a lot more struggling for the bind. So pay attention to your own practice. Feel what's going on in your feet. And as you come through neutral, you're just going to switch sides. We've got a good solid 5 to 8 breaths here. Allow your body to help you. Breathe in, breathe out. What became important and why? Do we struggle to achieve a goal? Or do we let the struggle go and let the goal go? And allow whatever's supposed to come up. Because we're in the present moment and we can feel it. We're going to go through that warm up one more time. So push your, come back to neutral, excuse me. Your feet can be forward or turned out. That's up to you. I'm working on my parallel positions right now. We're going to push the ground away with our feet. Notice when our butt sticks out, stand all the way up. Some of you are going to stand all the way up onto your toes and lift your hands. And we're going to hold here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. So if you're in yoga bar, that happens a lot. I count like that. So we can get to our edge. Take the arms out into T. Now don't move the arms, just tilt your shoulders over. And you can keep a wider stance or you can shorten it up this time. That's up to you. Strong belly, hips moving forward. Open and close the hands 3 times. Come back through neutral and take it over to the other side. Move at your pace. You don't have to be rushed by my legs. Especially, you know, most of you know, if you hit one of those sweet spots and you're like, oh my God, something's letting go, then you stay. There's no hurry to move in and out of these postures. The inhale will bring you back up through center. And we did a standing back. I don't know how big yours is this morning or how many times you have to adjust your pants. But feel free to make adjustments. We're going to meet in the forward fold and twist to the left when you get back. So take your time. And I know for some of us taking our time is 1/2 of a breath, and for others it can take 3 breaths just to get to the forward fold. And I know that because I watch everybody practice. There's no right or wrong. You're following your breath there. The right and wrong happens in your body mechanics. If you're trying to work your body in a way it doesn't want to or isn't physically capable of, you're not going to get good results. That's all it is. About 5 to 8 breaths on each side in the twist. And then it's a squat with twist in case you get there before I do. And when you get to your squat, add those twists in. And if you're a high power practitioner and you want your squat to turn into an arm bind and then a bird of paradise, you could definitely do that. You could also let your squat turn into a Bakasana practice. And yeah, Bakasana is gentle for some people. So smile. It might be you today. And the other place that we go when we get to a squat is a pose called Malasana, where you actually bring your feet together and then you wrap your hands behind as you sink into the squat, and then you bring your head down. So if you want to come into garland pose, that's another option. I'm going to say 3 to 5 more breaths. And then we're going to meet on our bottoms. So if you're exploring side to side or balancing, just getting into a sweet spot in the squat. Don't rush, we're meeting on our bottoms. Once you get to your bottom, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, and you can bring them in as close as you want, or you can let them sneak out a little bit, or a lot. It's not going to matter to me. So what's the difference? The closer you pull them in, the more you're going to feel it in the inner thigh and probably the outer hip. And the further they go out, the more you're probably going to feel that in the knees and the ankles. But you're probably still getting a nice stretch here and in the hips. So you're going to take it to the place where it's best for you. I feel like sometimes I spend a lot of time explaining that. Take a nice big inhale and roll your shoulders down, and then pull your navel into your spine. If you can actually grasp the feet and pull them open, go ahead and do so. It's the shoulders down and the chest moving up. So lift your sternum up. We get such a stretch here, and there's so much tension that we carry around on our shoulders. So many of us are busy trying to carry the weight of the world, or maybe we're even trying to carry everybody else's anxiety right now. So take a great big breath in. And if you want to exhale through the mouth, let it go. Come back to your deep diaphragmatic breathing after your cleansing breath. And then 2 options on this one. I personally like coming forward with the intent of keeping the spine long until I can't fold anymore, and then round in. And then in some of the yin methods, we start by rolling the chin down and then letting the spine curve all the way in. Either method is going to be lovely. Which one does your back want today? So if you're coming forward with a straight spine, think straight spine all the way through. And you could even hold that straight spine using your arms to push into the knees. And when we push, we're pushing with loving kindness, ahimsa. We're not trying to mash our legs into the ground. Sternum is coming forward, shoulders are sliding down the back. Breath is strong. And if you round it in, let go, let go, let go. Let go of a lot of things, including some of that strong breath, and allow softness to move through your body. So active stretching versus passive stretching. Knowing the difference is really the important part. Because right now I'm trying to be passive in my lower half and active in my upper half. So I'll need a breath to manage both. So an easy diaphragmatic breath. If it was completely active, I'd probably still keep my ujjayi breath going because I'm actively engaging all my muscles. Relax your jaw. Breathe in. Breathe out. Take 3 more breaths. And when you come up, just slowly roll ourselves all the way up. Keep the left leg in and take the right leg out. You can pull the left leg in a little bit further. So the right leg is going to be out. So we're in half an easy seat, Ardha Sukhasana. And then we're going to inhale, lift the arms up, and then turn towards the knee that's bent. So give yourself a few breaths, stretching and sitting tall as your sit bones connect to the earth. Keep your belly engaged, shoulders down, smile. And then we're going to take the right arm inside the right leg, and you can plant the hands. If you've got a prop, you could prop the forearm, but we're eventually going to side bend over our right leg. Try to keep the toes pointing up and keep bending in. Shoulders slide down. And for those of you who are extra flexible, you could take your right arm and reach across for your shin, your knee. Some of you might be able to grab your foot, keep rolling yourself open. But what's most important is keeping those sit bones rooted and allowing your side body to stretch. The hands are just there to help us. Don't make it about the hands. 4 more big breaths. When you finish your 4th breath, take your time. You're going to come all the way up through seated. The left hand will go back behind you. The right hand will reach to the sky. And you can just reach up here, or you can push the ground away and lift the hips up and stretch open the psoas muscle. One way or another, you're going to do a little releasing here. 1 to 5 breaths, because I don't know how many you need today. Keep pushing through your big toe and the pinky toe. If your foot is on the ground, if not, keep reaching the foot for the ground. Lifting our hips up to the sky this way is good. It's opposite the direction we sit all day. So when you come on down, we're just going to switch sides. You have to remember to turn that on mat for sure. So right foot's going to come in, left leg's going to go out. Make any adjustments with your body. Inhale the arms up. Turn to the right leg. Keeping the hips down. Take about 3 to 5 breaths. Notice how different this twist is too than all those other twists we did today. Twisting is another great way to help us when you're ready to side bend.
and Zyban to release anxiety. Because a lot of anxiety builds up in our digestive system too. And since we're all homebound, I can guarantee that most of us are eating a lot more than we normally do, and probably a lot more of things we normally wouldn't eat. A lot more snacky foods and sugary foods. Comfort food, right? And that microbiome in our bellies, well, it lives off of that stuff and it communicates directly to our brain. So whatever we're feeding our belly, we're having a conversation with our brain. And those microbiome are not necessarily connected to us. So we're not sure the conversation it's always having with our brain. So make sure every once in a while, stick with those healthy fruits and vegetables. Stick with good sugars. Carbs with fiber. I'm not sure how many more breaths we have on this side. This would be the side I'd want to bail early on, my tight side. So if you've got 3 to 5 more breaths and you know that's right, then you stay. We released by coming up and putting the right hand behind us, and the left hand is going to go up. And you could pause right here. This is lovely. I love this stretch. And if you need more today, you pop those hips up. Or if you're just exploratory, what does it feel like for me to lift and open? And when I do so, how many breaths can I maintain here? When you come down, you're going to slowly bring your bottom back down to the earth. Don't rush. You have to time myself how many times I say that. Take your legs out long when you get back to your bottom. And if you're not in the middle of your mat, scoot yourself forward, because we're going to come to laying down. But before we do, bend your knees, plant your feet, reach your arms forward, lean back, and then lift forward. And then lean back a little bit more, and then lift forward a little bit more. And do that 8 more times. Each time, see if you can go back a little bit further. Notice where you get stuck. I know where I get stuck. Oh, right there. I can feel my belly start trembling like crazy. Eventually, we're going to end up on our backs after we get done with these half sit-ups. So on that very last one, if you want to take it down just as slow as you can go. And then when you get on your back, hug your knees in. Gently rock side to side. And since we're sticking with the theme this morning, these are going to turn into spinal twist on your back. The arms in T or cactus, depending on how much space you have. And then knees. I like going to the left first these days. So I'm going to encourage you to go to the left first. And there's a reason. Try to get the knees up toward the belly button, higher if you can. Was I supporting you there? And then the shoulders are working to come flat. And then some of you, especially you under 30 crowd or your under 35 crowd, you can start to rotate your whole rib cage flat on the mat. Right? And those of us in the 40 up crowd, we might not be able to do that. So breathe in. There's no need to do that. It's just young, healthy spines might have more flexibility. And as we continue to open ours as we age and keep it flexible, we hope one day our shoulders and ribs can come back to the ground. We'll take 2 more big breaths. And if you need more time, please take it. Use your next inhale to bring you back through center. Pause in the middle if you need to rock it out. Otherwise, take it right on over to the right side. What I just saw Brad do a nice one. So you can come all the way into that fetal pose if you like. That's a nice way to make sure you get everything stacked up and then open out into your T-twist. Especially when my back was sore and hurting, I had to do that a lot. Otherwise, my body would automatically go into its compensation mode. So when we twist to the left first, we work on the descending colon, and that's going to help us push things through for elimination. And when we twist to the right, we work on the ascending colon, and that's what's going to help us with the digestion. So first we want to get things out of our way, and then we're going to work on the stuff that's in the digestive tube and then start to push that out of the way. So that's one of the reasons we twist to the left first, is it aids our body's digestive system. Ultimately, the twists are good no matter which way you go first, so don't get hung up on a direction. 3 more breaths. And when you come back through center, we're moving into bridge pose, candlestick, shoulder stand, or headstand. And if you don't like any of my options, the next option would be hug one knee in and let a leg go straight. And then the other option would be come right into Shavasana. All kinds of choices this morning. I personally am going for the knee hugging in. Beautiful job, everybody. As we get better at managing classes online and on computers, we'll get better at timing our classes. So I'm going to encourage you, if you went into Shavasana, relax. I've never heard to date that Shavasana was too long, ever. So take a few extra minutes in Shavasana. That'd be awesome. That's a great anxiety releaser. Stay with your breath. Don't let your mind drift off into crazy little world. Come back to your parables. How can you relate some of them to your life? Can you share them with other people who might, at this point, need some help? Somebody told me yesterday that it's those of us who are not anxious and freaking out that probably are the ones everybody should be most concerned about. So I want to welcome all of you to being part of the calm crowd. And if you weren't calm before class, hopefully you're feeling better now. Encourage you to move into your Shavasana. And then I'm going to set a little timer for us. Each day I've been feeling safer, adding in another minute to the Shavasana rest. So allow yourself to drift in, drift out. Anxiety is a choice. A choice of choosing worry and fear of the unknown. The choice we can change by staying present
Breathing deep, being aware. Being vigilant and concerned, awesome. As you bring yourself back to this awareness, feel your breath moving in the body. Create space between your teeth. Relax your eyes all the way up to your ears. Feel your breath begin to grow inside of you. Allow that gentle swell of the belly and each inhale. Pulling in more air. And then releasing what no longer serves you into the world. Everything green is going to pick up what you release. What they release, we pick up. Reducing life to the simplest exchanges. And each layer we put on top of that, the layer that can cause anxiety. To remove anxiety. Back to the basics. Sit and breathe. And by sit, air quotes, could be any posture. And as your breath grows, notice if there's still resistance. Perhaps now you're ready to stretch your body long. Wiggle fingers and toes. And start to wake yourself up. And while it used to annoy me when teachers would say you could stay on your back for your shavasana or for your namaste, well, you can. I'm going to make you sit up. But I'm going to close class with an Om, and you are welcome to join from wherever you land. If you're still waking yourself up, don't rush. When you do make it to your seat or the posture you're going to end your practice in, let's take a cleansing breath. Big breath in. Big breath out. Take a comfortable inhale. Bring your hands together and bow in. Thank you so much for finding the power of your breath today, the beauty of your movements, the calmness of your soul. Thank you for sharing that with me. Together, let's lift our chins. And whoever we run into today, let them feel our gratitude, to see it, to inspire. Namaste. Thank you all so very much for being here. Thank you for Brad for being my participant today. It's way more fun to teach to a live body. I love this arrangement we have where people can sign in. We're still going to be offering free classes online, so check out Facebook and Instagram, and we'll still have the meetings for regular classes. So if you guys have any times that work better, classes you want to see on the schedule, let us know. We're kind of in a recreate mode. Everybody is. How do you want to create from here? Thanks, everyone. You guys have a great day. Go and play in the snow. It looks like a good old-fashioned wet snow, too. Milton snowman. Until next time, be safe out there.